Okay, so we're going to do Unit 2 on lines. And you guys, it's probably one of the most important units we do. This is the year you really have to be proficient at this. But if you click right here, it goes into some tutorials. So if you don't understand what I do today, you can go back in and look at those tutorials. I think you can click on it, but I'm not going to swear to it. I did on my iPad, but that doesn't mean anything. So let's get started here. We're going to do slope-intercept form for the equation of a line. You might remember it. Yes? This was lesson 2 in Schoology. And you just click on it, and then you have to open it in Notability. Okay, so then you have to grab some paper. See what I have. If you don't have your iPad or your iPad's not working or whatever, then you're going to be responsible notes in a written fashion. I can collect these. Now, if you notice, I put them in as 6 slides per page. Does anybody else? So I want you to do them. If I don't collect them, you won't do them. So I want you, if you all work with me, I don't want to collect them either, to tell you the truth. Okay, did you know there are 2 credit cards for every person in the U.S.? I probably have 8, at least. Question. Yeah, they may have to move. Hey, guys, if you can't be quiet, you're going to have to move. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Right. I did it that way because it's actually easier for me to look at your work. But it also takes less space. So yes, I did put 6 slides in a page. You'll have to pinch it. Everybody figure out how to do it? Has everybody got this up and running? Emily, you ready? Okay, good. Max, are you ready? Oh, I get 2 Maxes. How many Maxes are there? Just 2? No, Max. I wasn't talking to Matt, but it could be. Okay, do you guys remember what's, you guys? That's right. Slope is, it's rise over run. Do you remember what the formula, okay guys, I need it quiet. I'll just wait. Y equals mx plus b. Now this is review, but we need to make sure you get it. So some of you might have just blown it off and said, I don't want to learn this. You can't do that. You have to know it because you can't take any other math classes without that. Okay, Zach? Okay. In fact, let's continue with rise over run. Y equals mx plus b. What is m? What does m represent? Slope. And somebody said rise over run. It's the change in the y divided by the change in the x. We could have called it the change in x, Chris, or the change over the change in y. But somebody, and it wasn't me, decided a long time ago, we'll put the changes in the y over the changes in the x. This is a rate, which rate means fraction, or ratio. Fraction you know better than ratio, of change. So if x changes somewhat, the y changes. In science class, you might measure the temperature of water as you heat it up. As time changes, how does the temperature change? This is foreshadowing of calculus. This is calculus. This is what we do in calculus. We write lines. Now, still some of you have a tough time with slope. But slope really isn't as big a deal as you think. Slope is simply a number. There are no x's in it, and it's a number that tells you, it gives you a value for how steep something is. That's all it is. We all know temperatures. When we say, like this morning was 45 degrees Fahrenheit, we all knew that meant we had to wear a sweatshirt or sweater to come to school today because otherwise it'd be cold. I don't like being cold. I don't like being hot either. But anyway, the temperature, that 45, is a number that tells you how warm or cold it is. You've been doing temperature since you were teeny tiny. It's normal for you to know what that is without even thinking about it. When I say it's 45 degrees. Go overseas, now we're in Celsius. Now it changes. If it's 27 Celsius, I have no idea how warm that is. Question? Oh, no. Okay. So that's all this is. Keep in mind there are no X's. It's only the number. And the bigger the number, the steeper the line. Has anybody ever been out in the mountains? Have you been in the mountains? And have you noticed that they have these signs that say grade on the roads when you get steep? It'll say it's a 10% grade. Do you know what that means? That's slope. It's telling you how steep it is. The worst grade I've ever seen is 18%. Well, what's 10%? What's 10% written as a fraction? Because slope is a fraction. It's 10 out of 100. That's right, it's 1/10. So if you go 100 feet this way, the road will rise 10 feet that way. Well, if it's an 18% grade, that means you go over 100 feet and you go up 18 feet. Trust me, it's steep. And we were going to go down the road with an 18% grade with a 32-foot motorhome, and the road was curvy. We turned around. And that's because the only reason we even got there in the first place is my husband decided, oh, we'll just follow the GPS. You cannot always trust a GPS. And us going on this road for 150 miles, I knew something was wrong when I saw grass growing between the cracks in the road, meaning there was no traffic on this road. And that's where it ended up, at the border of Wyoming and Utah, with a very curvy road. So we had to drive back 150 miles to get back to the main highway. Don't always trust your GPS. So this is a real life application of steepness. If you're putting roofs on houses, you're talking about how steep that's going to be. That's all slope is. Now, if slope comes from the word, why is it M? Because it comes from the word monter. I've been told that may not be right, but I like it. And that's the French word which means to climb. So when you think of M, think of monter, or think of mountain, you're talking about how steep the mountain is, or the line is. Now, what about B? What's B? The y-intercept. You're remembering this really well, I'm pleased. So if I draw a line here, this is B. It's the y-intercept, and it's actually an ordered pair. Because if I want to find a place in this plane someplace, I have to give you two pieces of information. I need to tell you how far away you've gone from the origin horizontally, the x's, and then vertically. In this case, I'm not moving anywhere on the x's. It's 0. Matter of fact, this is called the x-intercept. That's the x-intercept, and you know what I call it? I call it A, because we've already used B. So that's A0. They could have called the slope y equals AX plus B. Now, here's some little hints for B, especially when you're graphing. B is the y-intercept. It also is the base. That's why we call it B. And actually, that's from French, too, base. But it's also where we begin when we graph. So we always do the B first. It's where you begin. So if you can catch those little mnemonics, that helps you do that. Is this familiar to you, or is it totally foreign? Shouldn't be foreign. Is it coming back a little bit? Okay, so if you read my little graph, as best you can, what is the y-intercept? It's 0, 2. And you know what? I would accept just plain 2. But you really should know it's an ordered pair. Okay, Matt, what's the slope of this line? Remember, now we're going to count. You start with a nice intersection point. Looks like this one. I'm going to count how many to the right? 2. And okay, so as a fraction, it's 2 over 2. And we do reduce these. What does that equal to? 1. Oh, just 1. That's right. But that, no, you're absolutely right. It's a fraction, 1 over 1. So if it's y equals mx plus b, what am I going to put in for m? Chris, what am I going to put in for m? Good. Times x plus the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept then? What's the y-intercept then? No, look at the numbers up there. Zach, can you help them out? What's the y-intercept? You got to focus. I don't talk that long. Y-intercept is 2. That's what we're going to do on the first worksheet. You don't have it yet. Worksheet. Oh, of course. Only three things you can count on in life: death, taxes, and math homework. You know there's always math homework. Okay, what's the y-intercept there? Write it down. What's the y-intercept here? It's 2. It's 0, 2. Now, what's the slope? Now, you're going down the hill. We read left to right. In Arabic, it's right to left, so that confuses you, of course. So the books are always backwards. The back of the book, it's their front of the book. You get used in Japanese? Really? I didn't know that. So we're going to begin here, and we are going to go down 2 and to the right 4. So what is that slope? Matt, take your things. Move over here, please. Okay. I gave you a lot of chances. Yes. Okay, Zach, can you help me with the slope? I like to actually put it in here. Now, you guys, you should recognize if it's positive or negative slope. But if you're here, if you're going down 2, the temperature's going down 2. No, up front. Up here. That's a negative 2. Now, you're going to go to the right. Is that positive or negative? Positive 4. Where's the classic mistakes? No, this is fine, but when I ask for the slope, what goes in the numerator? Negative 2 fourths. Many students, even calculus students, do it upside down. You just have to remember it's y over x. Think of the x as creating the table legs, and then y goes there. Does that help? Ever seen tables built on these things? Yeah, I hope so. Or we reduce it negative 1/2. Chris, what's the equation here then? Y equals what? Remember, it's y equals mx plus c. What's m? Negative 1/2. Is that negative important? Yes. Plus 2. Do you remember this now? Coming back a little bit? You can say no. No is an okay answer. I just want to hear the truth. Okay, we ready? Unless you tell me I don't know. Okay, so we could graph this, and we will graph this. But we have a slope of negative 2 and a y-intercept of negative 4. So what do I put right in this little blank? Caitlin, what do I put in that little blank? First blank. I have a bunch of numbers here. What goes here? Right here. What number? Negative 2. And the y-intercept is negative 4. Let's graph this. My last example is not very good for graphing. It doesn't fit. But this one does. So we begin with just this constant. Do you remember? Okay, so this is the y-intercept. So it's going to be on the y-axis, and it's giving me at negative 4. And then I want to write the slope is negative 2. Let's write that as a fraction. And Matt, I know, can answer the question. It's negative 2 over what? What number is here, really? 1. Excellent. Now, do you want to do the up-down first or the over right-left first? This is the up-down. This is the over. I don't care. You want to do the up-down first? That's not how you were taught. I always like to do the over first. Well, we'll do the other one. So we're going to go down how many? 2, and then, because that's positive 1, to the right, 1. And I could reverse it. I could go up 2, but left 1. This is a constant rate of change. Okay? That's it. Well, that's what we're doing today. If you remember, it should be easy. If you don't remember it, maybe not. No, we're reviewing the linear piece. Then we'll get into functions, which you've not seen. This is a function, f of x notation. And you will see, yeah, these are all functions. This is a particular function. It's a linear function. But we'll do quadratic functions. Don't think we'll do cubic functions. Quadratic looks like this. Now, how would I find the slope there when I don't have a line? What you do is you zoom in on this till it looks like a line, and there's your line. That's what we do in calculus. We find slopes. This is a parabola. Oh, and this is a tangent line. Only thing that is that if it's y equals x squared, it's a parabola, quadratic. Hyperbola? Hyperbola. Which looks like this. It can look like this. That is not a function. But we'll talk about that when we get to functions. Let's get our lines down first. Lines are the simplest functions of all. Okay, so how about this one? What's the slope here? 1. And Luke, can you tell me the y-intercept? Y-intercept's right here. That's the x value. I want the y value. -1. And you realize that the ordered pair is alphabetical. Okay, Zach? Zach? Okay, let's graph that. You should hopefully graph it before me. What do we begin with? We begin with the b. B for begin, -1. What axis does it go on? The y-axis is called the y-intercept. So b is -1, and the slope was equal to +1, wasn't it? Yes. What is that as a fraction? Chris, what's that as a fraction? 1/1, or you could have 2/2, or you could have 3/3. There's lots of answers for that. 100, yeah, except it won't fit on my graph. That's one problem. So we're going to go up 1 and to the right 1. Up 1 and to the right 1. I got to make a little staircase here. Is this looking familiar now a little bit more? When we practice with the homework, it'll get better. My straight lines aren't particularly straight. Actually, that's not bad. Let's try another one. Okay, see where we're going here. Okay, what's the slope? What do I put right in here? -1/2. It's hard to write the fractions on a smartboard, though. Zach, do you need a different place to sit? Yes. Okay, what's B? Your neighbor here, I don't know his name yet. Colin, what's B? 1/4. Oh, that's not fun to graph. Is it? It's not fun to graph. 1/4 will be right here. Where did I come up with that one? Did somebody change it? And it's -1/2, which means I'm going to go down 1. So if I was at 1/4, I'm going to be at -3/4, and I'm going to go to the right 2. That's a problem. Can be a problem. There's ways to get around it, which hopefully we'll get to. At least get the right slant on it. It's going down the hill. We read left to right. So it's negative if it looks like this, and it's positive if it looks like that. Oh, I guess because I added the graph. Okay, ready? Ooh. Now, the problem with this, it doesn't fit on my graph, so you can change your scale if you'd like. By the way, as long as the scales are the same, you can just measure your slope. You can just measure how far over, how far up. Let's at least fill in the blanks. We won't graph it, though. What's the slope? 5/4. And what goes here? -10. Okay, that's what we should have done Friday. We would not have had time to do it anyway because of the class meeting, so it didn't really matter. And that's what this homework looks like. Okay? But let's continue. Let's get the lessons all done. Because it's not any different. Draw two lines that are parallel. Okay, you don't have any kind of a drawing tool, do you? Which is unfortunate. It doesn't work. You can't place it. Okay, those are parallel. What is, so do the best you can to draw that. What's going to be true about their slopes? Yeah, they're going at the same rate. I really like that. The lines are parallel. How we write parallel lines is with these little marks here, which you'll need for geometry next year. They never meet. What's a real life parallel line? But except we're on the Earth. The Earth is curved. Railroad tracks. The railroad tracks never meet. Or you could talk about Highway 7 and Highway 12. For the most part, they're parallel. They're both east-west roads. So explain to me this, why when they do road construction, they say they close all the east-west roads and say take alternate routes. There are no alternate routes. You close them all. I don't think they ever think about it. If you're talking about like 494, you have people going this way and people going that way. Yeah, those are parallel. Just that they don't, parallel just means they don't intersect. And you might have to move back the table. I understand. Okay, so the slopes are what? What's true about the slopes here? Are they equal or not equal? They're equal. So if I have parallel lines, I have equal slopes. Some of you may take an ACT. If you're going to go to college, you will take the ACT exam. This is one thing you have to know. I have no idea. American college, something. And then there's the PSAT. But you'll take it here anyway because everybody takes it. Okay, perpendicular lines. Do you know what happens with perpendicular lines? They do cross, they intersect, and they intersect in a particular way. So they get this way. Those are perpendicular. That's what that symbol means. I get right angles. The symbol for perpendicular is this. Because math people are lazy. Look how long that word is. Who wants to write that word out? So somebody made up a symbol. Yeah. What's that? Now, the slopes are going to be trickier. Does anybody remember what's true about the slope? Like if this is 4, then this would be, you reciprocal it. So if this is 4, and that's right. When math comes, I always find things happen in twos. So we're going to find the reciprocal of 4, which is 1/4. And that's only one change, though. And it's negative because you notice this is a positive slope and that's a negative slope. So in words, they are opposite, which means the negative, reciprocals. Whoops, almost couldn't spell that right. Which means, in your terms, you flip it. I don't like that. I'd rather use the word reciprocal because everybody knows what that means. When you say flip it, I don't know what you mean by flipping it, really. So if my slope is 3/4, what's the slope of the perpendicular? I'm going to use that little sign because I'm lazy. So you flip it or reciprocal it, and it's negative. When you do things in math, things always come in pairs. If you subtract from one side, you subtract from the other side. Now, that's what I would call a conjecture. I've never been able to prove that, but it's what I've observed over years and years and years of doing math. So if you only do one thing, then you've done something wrong. Do you remember how to divide fractions? Well, I can show you why it works. Maybe we should talk about why it works. This means 1/2 divided by 3/4. And now I just made something that was simple complicated. It's called a complex fraction. Well, guess what? I don't want this 3/4 down here. What could I multiply by to make it turn into 1? It's called the reciprocal. This is 4/3. Well, I'm not being very fair. If I'm working with fractions, if you change the denominator, you better change the numerator too. 4/3. When I multiply this out, what do I get? 3 times 4 is 12. Over 12, I get 1. What fraction is this? What number is this? 4/3 divided by 4/3 is the same as 1. Question? Okay. Now, I made 2 changes. You remember how to do fractions? You do 1/2. You change the divided by the times, and you flip it. Find the reciprocal. That's why it works. But it's 2 changes. So if you try to manipulate something, you only do 1 change, you know you're missing something. I could be lying. Okay. No, write a line that's parallel to this line that has a y-intercept of 0, -7. So if I want a new line, it's parallel to this. What's the slope here? I think I heard that. What's the slope? 3. What's the slope of my parallel line? It's the same thing, right? But it has a different intercept. So it's 3 times x, and the y-intercept is -7. So that's my answer. Is this easy? Yeah, I'm hoping it's easy. Now, in my quadratic class last year, I didn't teach that. So for my students who come into this year, they're going to have some problems. Or no, this is quadratic. My linear kids, I never taught that. Wrong, but they're not here. Write the equation of a line that is parallel. It has a y-intercept of 9. What's my slope going to be? No, you're close. It's not 23 though. It's -2/3. Maybe you didn't see the fraction bar. And what's my new y-intercept? Not -1, but 9. So y equals -2/3 x plus 9. That's all we're doing. We're not even graphing these things. Just 2 more slides. Are you ready? Well, this was tougher because. Yeah, that's right. This slope is 1/2, but I want the perpendicular. So what's the new one going to be? I'm going to flip it and make it a negative. So the perpendicular is going to be 2/1, but you're going to make it negative. 2 changes. You flip it and you make it its opposite. So what's the new equation? Y equals -2. -2/1, you can do it. Well, divided by 1 doesn't change anything. Plus 6. Okay, ready? One last one. Write the equation of a line that's perpendicular to this line and has a y-intercept of 0, -2. What's the slope here? Remember, it's just the number. -5/2. You don't have to write that, by the way. I don't care. I'm doing it to show you. And Matt, what's the perpendicular? Flip it. That's right. I'll show the positive. Do I have to write the positive? What's my new y-intercept? -2. This is my b. It's 0, b. So what does the equation look like? It looks like 2/5 x plus a -2. Or for those of you who are a little more succinct about this, it's positive 2/5 x minus 2. Either one, they're both the same. What was the question? Emily, do you have a question? And that's it. I don't think there's any more slides. So now what you're going to do is we're going to work on homework. So let me hand out the homework sheets.